Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance, where people conform to the letter but not the spirit of a request. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some malicious compliance. Don't want to be disturbed? Have fun losing 4 hours? I work on the railway as a guard. So, my job involves checking and selling tickets, giving people travel information and advice, and, most importantly, keeping them safe and looking after them if there's an emergency. Sometimes, this means telling them off if they've got their feet on the seats as well. I was working a train down from London one afternoon, checking tickets and trying to be helpful, when I came across a gentleman in an otherwise empty coach who had his set on the seats, and massive noise-cancelling headphones on his head. I asked if I could see his ticket, and if he'd be so kind as to remove his feet. But, of course, he couldn't hear me. I asked again, slightly louder, and again, he ignored me. I took my carriage key and used it to rap upon the window, creating a loud and clear knocking sound that normally cuts through headphones and sleep alike. But even this did nothing. So, the final resort. I took a firm grasp on the back of his seat and gave it a shake. This was enough to get his attention. "Good afternoon, sir," said I. "Tickets, please. And would you mind keeping your feet off the seats?" "What do you think gives you the right to disturb me?" he said. "Well, sir, it's my job to check your tickets. So, if you'd be so good as to show me yours, I'll be happy to leave you alone. But I still need you to take your feet off the seats." "Oh, screw off, you Jobsworth," he said, while getting out his ticket. "I don't want to be disturbed again. Do you understand?" "Absolutely, sir. But please, take your feet off the seats. Or how about we put a newspaper down first? Or you could take off your shoes perhaps." Grumbling, he found an old newspaper and spread it out on the seat opposite, before placing his still beshewed feet back up. "Also, sir," I said, "it might be a good idea for you to turn down your headphones a tad. Otherwise, you might not hear important announcements." "I've made it quite clear that I don't want to talk to you. Now screw off." Now, one of the key skills in my job is knowing when to pick your battles. And I had no desire to make more work for myself by dealing with this gentleman. So, off I went. A few minutes later, I had a call from control, letting me know that due to a signalling issue further down the line, my train was going to be diverted just after our next stop. As a result, we would be missing out about 90% of the stations that we had been due to call at, and would be running directly to our final destination. I called up my driver to let him know about the change in plan, and then made an announcement to my passengers. "Good afternoon, everyone. This is your guard speaking. I have just received word from control that due to a signalling issue at Station B, this train will now be diverted between Stations A and Stations G, and will no longer be calling at Station B, Station C, Station D, Station E, and Station F, and will instead be running fast directly to Station G. Any passengers for Stations B, C, D, E, or F should change at Station A. If you have any questions, I'll be walking through the train, so please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you." And so, I walked through the train, talking to the passengers, making sure that they all understood what was going on, and where they would now need to change in order to get where they were going. Some of them were understandably annoyed, but I did my best to explain it all to them, and to let them know it was beyond our control. By the time I had walked through the train, every single passenger knew exactly what they needed to do. Well, all the passengers but one. We arrived at Station A, and quite a lot of people got off. I had an 8-coach train, and now only about 20 or so passengers, so it was nice and quiet. I made one last announcement about the diversion, then shut the doors, and gave the driver 2 on the bell the signal that we were ready to start. I happened to be in the same coach as the gentleman from earlier, who now had his eyes open and was looking out the window. I watched him as he watched the world slide by as we pulled out of the station, and I watched him as he felt us bounce over a set points that we would not normally have crossed over. I watched him as he began to realise that the view out of the windows was wrong, and that we had gone down a different line than usual. And I watched him as we started to zip past stations that he had clearly never seen before as we took the diversion down to Station G. After a few minutes, he walked up to where I was sitting in my little guard's office and asked me what time we were due to arrive at Station B. Well, like I said in the announcements, we're not going to Station B anymore. We're running non-stop to Station G. I did make plenty of announcements about it. Well, I didn't hear anything. Why didn't you tell me? He shouted. You made it perfectly clear that you didn't want me to disturb you, sir, I said. And I had warned you about being able to hear the announcements. Well, I need to get to Station B. How am I going to get there now? This was perfect. This was the moment that I had been waiting for. I explained to him that he was now going to have to stay on this train until we got to Station G, wait around for half an hour or so, get another train from Station G to Station A, wait some more, and then get a bus from Station A to Station B. How long is that going to take? He asked. Well, I said, from Station A to Station G along the diversion, it's about an hour and a half each way, plus the waiting. So if the buses are good, about 4 hours or so, give or take. Well, needless to say, he was not happy about this, but there was nothing that I was able to do to help him out. And after all, he had made it very clear that he did not want me to disturb him. It's just so perfect how the guy said to him very clearly, oh, you might want to turn your headphones down in case you miss an important announcement. And then it's like, oh, yeah, very important announcement. You won't bend the rules to let me leave a week early, forfeiting my pay? Fine, I'll leave you and get my full pay. My story happened 4 years ago. I got my degree in an unrelated field, but I've worked as an IT professional most of my career. About 15 years ago, I landed my dream gig. I worked in a small-sized bank headquarters writing SQL queries all day. Well-paid job, good hours, right next to my home, problem solving all day long. As I said, dream job. Unfortunately, the big crisis came and my small bank was bought by a medium bank. The good hours disappeared and the problem solving became a connect that data hose to the other data hose as fast as you can. I live in a country I love. We have free healthcare, you get a salary when unemployed or when you retire, weather is beautiful. Unfortunately, when the crisis hit, we got to 25% unemployment rate and employers never have been fond of paying extra time. Why bother? If you didn't want to work for free, well, 1 in every 4 people was free. So, long hours, no problem solving, and no extra pay. But well paid, next to my home. I enjoyed it. Then came a big bank that bought the middle bank, just as I became a father. Longer hours, no extra pay, I enjoyed it. But finally, every field of every table from Bank A was in the right field in the right table in Bank B. So, our headquarters closed, and I was given a choice. Would I like to relocate to the big bank HQ 2,000 miles away, or start working in a local branch of the bank as a teller? I chose the second option, and they selected a branch that was just 100 miles from my home. Just one problem. It was on an island. With a small child and 25% unemployment rate, I couldn't risk it, and me and my family moved to that island. It soon became clear to me that we were not supposed to help people with their monetary transactions. We were salesmen. If an old lady wanted to deposit $20, she had to subscribe to our savings plan. If someone asked for a credit for their new TV, they had to subscribe to our home insurance. Our contract said we had to work from 8 to 3, but the branch was open to the public from 8:15 to 2:30, and always full. We had to stay after hours until 4, 5 or 6 in order to hit our sales target for the week. No extra pay, of course. The first few months, I wasn't good at selling. I was terrible. But I improved, and improved. In 2 years, I was the best salesman in our branch and one of the best in our region. I was chosen to train everybody else on the island. More hours, no extra pay. And then, my salvation. The bank filed for a voluntary redundancy. They wanted older people with higher salaries to apply for it. It was voluntary and the severance package was really good. And substitute them with much younger people with tiny salaries. My branch manager couldn't believe it when I told her I was leaving. Most of the people applying were those that could retire with the money from the severance package, and I was not 40 yet. She told me I was crazy and I shouldn't do that, but I just didn't care. My child had health problems and I barely saw him. Besides, the pressure to sell was huge. I felt like I was drowning all the time. I recently discovered I have a heart condition as a nice memento for the time of my life. And, more importantly, I noticed I was starting to become a worse person. I was better at selling because I wasn't as scrupulous as I used to be. That was a journey I didn't want to finish. Here comes the malicious compliance part. So, I told my manager on July that I was leaving at the end of September. Since we had the right to a full month of paid vacation every year, I only had to work until the end of the first week of September. But, since we were leaving the island, I asked my manager for that week. I would forfeit my pay for that week because I needed time to help my sick child during his first week at a new school. She told me that it couldn't be. I had to work until my last day. So, I started leaving at 3 every day. A week later, she called me to her office and asked me to do my part. The whole branch was suffering because of my attitude. My colleagues wouldn't receive a bonus because we wouldn't hit the target. I told her if she was going to make me work until my last minute, I wouldn't work hours for free. Then, my wife had a revelation. In my country, when you move, you have the right to 1 paid free day. 2, if you move more than 50 miles away, which we were going to do. Better still, the bank had a policy. You could add 3 paid days to any paid leave. Marriage, family illness, etc. That meant I didn't have to work that first week of September. I asked for those 5 days directly to HQ without telling my manager. A few days after that, she called me to her office. HQ had told her that I couldn't enjoy the paid leave because I was leaving the bank. But she had talked to the higher-ups and they had agreed to let me have the week off, forfeiting salary. Edit, I forgot to add, she was willing to concede that as long as I continued to give my 100%, meaning working the extra time. I went to my desk and wrote an email to a friend in HR. She had relocated the big bank HQ when the opportunity came, and we still kept in touch. She answered right away and told me what my manager had told me was BS. Of course, I had the right to those 5 days, since I was still an employee of the bank. I went back to my manager and told her that. I left at 3 o'clock with a big smile on my face every day from then on until my last day there, August 31st. It's always great to listen to the stories when the guy has a smile on his face at the end. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon.